Have you ever been to the car museum locally? We went a while back. Some of the older cars that were a little more than a tricycle with a body on top of it, and then one ran on coal. Well, they're not like that anymore. Good morning. I'm Anna Marie De La Vega. This is Focus. We're talking today how cars have become very advanced. They're not running on coal anymore, far as I know. They're so advanced that a lot of us have no idea what's under the hood, what's being controlled by computers and codes. So today we're going to find out some things that we need to know about that machine that we rely on every day to get us where we need to go and safely. And we're going to hear about what we need to do to keep it safe and keep it running. So we have an expert, lead technician, Charlie Dubois. He's with Good Honest Mechanic. It's a full-service vehicle repair shop, and Charlie is the guy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
So let's talk about specific time when cars just kind of made a big jump forward, because I know people are like, well, my old car didn't used to do that. Has it just been steadily progressing?
So 1996 was a very big year for the automotive industry. That was when everything went to what's called OBD2 protocol. Everything went to computer diagnostic interface. Beyond that, we have had a steady progression over the years, and it hasn't necessarily been more so any particular years than the other. It's just been a very steady progression to where cars are today.
Okay, and you said 1996, and it was, what was the protocol? The OBD?
OBD2.
What does that mean?
That means that all modern vehicles beyond 1996 require the same diagnostic interface where you can connect to any particular vehicle using the same interface to read basic diagnostic data.
Oh, wow.
So all that means is onboard diagnostics. It's onboard diagnostic interface number 2.
Okay. So number 1 was like outdated already.
Yes, number 1 was all over the place. Each manufacturer had their own interface, whereas onboard diagnostic 2, that's when everyone was mandated to have the same interface.
That was a big leap.
Yes.
Okay, so what changed and like since then to now in things that you can diagnose with an interface? You plug something in and that you're able to diagnose what's going on with a car. What has changed in that time?
A lot more computer-controlled systems. Whenever OBD2 was first released, it was essentially your engine was controlled by computer, your transmission, and your braking system. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you have seats that are controlled by computers. You have windows controlled by computers. You have cameras all around your vehicle controlled by computers.
Holy cow.
That will actually operate your brakes, that will change lanes for you.
Right.
Stop for you. Some will even accelerate for you in certain conditions.
Like speed control, what is it, cruise control?
Yes. Like GM, they use what's called Super Cruise. Many other manufacturers have a similar feature where you can set a distance to the vehicle in front of you. Your car will determine that distance and maintain the speed of the car in front of you.
Oh, my gosh. So we're just a step away with normal vehicles from being able to be driverless.
Yes.
Does that scare you at all?
It does. It's a lot of technology, and it's a lot of responsibility for someone behind the wheel, which is why a lot of manufacturers also integrate a lot of safety features.
Really? Do you have any idea? And this is not in your wheelhouse, so I'm just asking as an adjacency here. On a side, do you know, is there anything that relates fewer accidents to the increased safety technology on cars now?
I don't know any statistics for it, but I'm sure there certainly is with the automatic braking functions and things like that. Yeah. There's even vehicles that whenever you're using these automated cruise control operated features, they have cameras that watch you and make sure they can see your eyes pointed in the right direction for the road. If your eyes are not pointing in the right direction for the road, it will give you warnings on the dash. If you don't follow the warnings, they will actually safely pull your vehicle to the side of the road autonomously.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what about the thing that comes on and it says, you need some coffee?
That's exactly that.
They're seeing that we're either not paying attention to the road or that the car's weaving or something like that. What is it basing that on?
It's using an algorithm within the AI interface.
Yeah.
That is deciding that your eyes are not pointed in the direction that they want them to be pointed for long enough at a time.
Oh my gosh. What other things have changed that make people really not be able to just pull their car over under a shade tree, so to speak, and take care of their vehicles?
Well, in addition to all of the electronic components that you have to have very specialized software to get into, to access, to be able to repair correctly.
Mm-hmm.
There's also many specialized components that are even in the braking systems these days, where you can't just simply replace your brakes as you usually would have been able to. Now you have to have computer-controlled software to release the brakes in order to be able to replace them.
Wow. Why is that?
That's because the brakes are now actuated electronically so that they can use the electronic braking functions whenever needed, such as hill start assist. When you're sitting on a hill, you let go of your brake. Instead of your car rolling back, your rear brakes automatically engage until you press the gas.
No way. What about the old, now we're talking about brakes. What about the old advice of when you're trying to slow down, maybe it's slick or, to pump the brakes? Do we need to do that now on most of the newer cars?
No, nowadays that's done at a much faster rate than you could possibly do it yourself, and it's done with each specific wheel. So you have sensors in each wheel that determine how fast the wheel is spinning. If one wheel becomes slower than the other wheels, it will engage the brakes on the other wheels so that wheel can catch back up.
So you don't go into a spin?
Correct.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, because I've heard that happen like on icy roads, and you're trying to stop. It's like, so that's what they're doing is it's adjusting, and it's pumping the brakes faster than you possibly could.
Yes, that's the automatic braking system, and it's braking for you in ways that you're not able to do so on your own.
So in a situation, and I know you're not a safety expert, but so in a situation, according to what your car is doing, if your car is like a certain year or newer, you're able to, if you're in a situation like that, you just put your foot on the brakes. You just try and stop, and your car will do it better than you can if you're trying to pump them and things like that.
Correct.
What about the braking system? We've had some things done to our vehicle recently, and you guys were explaining how front and rear brakes are used differently these days and why you might need to replace. It used to be, in the olden days, you'd have to replace the front brakes more. And why was that?
That's because most of your weight of your vehicle was typically in the front of the vehicle, and most of your stopping power was used by the front brakes.
Okay.
Modern vehicles, they are more evenly weighted, where more of the weight is becoming in the back of the vehicle with the battery location and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, your rear brakes are being used a lot more with the modern technology, like I said, with the hill start assist, with the automatic parking brakes, and with the analog braking features that automatically control your brakes.
What does that mean to the consumer? What would we need to do?
That means that nowadays your rear brakes are usually wearing about as fast as your front brakes, in some instances even faster.
Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be able to pull over and just change your brakes. You just need to take it in for maintenance.
Correct.
What is the recommended maintenance time or miles now? Now, I know people need to talk to their specific repair shop person or their specific mechanic, their specific technician, but is there an estimated time or mileage level where we go, okay, now it's time to take the car in?
So that varies greatly based on driving conditions and driving habits. My best suggestion would be anytime you have an oil change or any other service, always have a full inspection performed on your vehicle, including brakes, suspension, and other components.
Okay. What are other components?
Other components would be such as your wheels, your tires, like I said, your suspension, your steering system, check your vehicle for leaks, your belts, anything like that could potentially be a wear item that you don't normally think of on a day-to-day basis.
Holy cow. Okay, and how often should we do the oil?
Oil changes, we recommend about every 4,000 to 5,000 miles.
So it's a little bit less than before. And why is oil change so important to the life of a vehicle?
Because the oil is the lifeblood of the engine. And over time, the oil with heat cycles will sludge in the engine, and it deteriorates. It accumulates metal from the wear of the engine.
Oh, wow.
And if you don't have that changed, you will essentially just damage your engine beyond repair.
So it's kind of like a high cholesterol and stuff in your blood. You have to keep it cleaned out.
Yes, exactly like that. Over time, there are deposits that do accumulate in your engine. Mm-hmm. As you change the oil, the additives in the new oil will help clean some of those out every time.
What's the difference in the synthetic oil and whatever the other kind is? I've seen that used when we get our oil changes. What kind do you use or what kind do you need? And to be honest, I don't pay a lot of attention to it, except we know we need this kind. What does that mean?
So these days we use synthetic oil only. The difference is the conventional oil is made from crude oil directly out of the ground. There's a lot of deposits, a lot of minerals in there that have to be filtered out and refined heavily. Mm-hmm. The synthetic oil is essentially all man-made.
Is it purer?
It is pure in a lot of aspects, in that the chemicals and the additives that are put in it are the things that are deemed essential for the engine and nothing additional.
What do you mean nothing additional?
Like the contaminants and the minerals that have to be refined out of the crude oil.
Okay. 4,000 to 5,000 miles is when we want to get the oil change and everything else checked.
Yes, that's our recommendation. Each manufacturer does have their own recommendations for service intervals.
Mm-hmm.
However, these recommendations don't necessarily have the best intentions of your engine and transmission in mind, as much as cost of ownership of the vehicle and for the vehicle to just outlast the warranty, so then you can buy another vehicle from them.
You know, I sometimes thought that. It's like it breaks down just after it gets paid off.
And that's by design.
So 4,000 to 5,000 miles, have everything checked, oil change, everything checked. When do we know when our tires need replacing?
You do that based on wear, and as long as you have them checked at approximately each oil change, you can be advised when to have your tires replaced based on condition of them at the times.
So our technician will take a look at all of that stuff and go, okay, next time you come in, we're going to need to go ahead and do this, or you need to maybe be looking at doing this.
Yes,
I noticed that's how they do it at Good Honest Mechanic. If you're just joining us, I'm Anna Marie. This is Focus, and we're talking about newer cars that are completely different from what we remembered as a child or from our parents or our grandparents. We're talking to the lead technician at Good Honest Mechanic, a full-service vehicle repair shop in Hendersonville, Tennessee. This is Charlie Dubois, the lead technician, and other things that we need to make sure that we take a look at or be prepared for, because that's an expense due to the oil change and everything. 4,000 to 5,000 miles, like you said, the cost of ownership may be a little higher, but it could save us money in the long run.
Yes, that is correct. Absolutely. Because you're taking better care of your engine. You're not going to need as many major engine repairs as you would if you were just following manufacturer recommendations.
If we don't have the oil changed as often as we should, and we run it for a long, long time, what are the other things that are affected? Like what starts going out where we go like, okay, this is going to happen, or this is probably what's going to happen, because the oil is, like you said, the lifeblood. It's going to start affecting what?
So it's going to start accumulating sludge within the engine. It's going to cause the engine to have to run harder. It's going to increase the distance. It's going to reduce your fuel economy.
Oh.
It's also going to increase wear on all components in your engine. It's going to increase your timing belt or your timing chain wear. It's going to increase your piston ring wear. It's going to increase all of your bearing wear. And ultimately, it will just greatly reduce the overall life of the engine.
So it's like all of the parts trying to, like when you're trying to walk in water, just all that pressure that's against your legs.
Correct. So when the engine oil wears out, it just causes everything to have to work a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm. What are the other things that are different? I know, like transmission. Let's talk about a transmission. We had a transmission that we had to get replaced just recently. What about the newer transmissions? I know ours was supposed to be a two-stage or something transmission, but it did seem like we had trouble with it kind of close to from when we got it, the vehicle. Like it started when we'd hit the gas to turn a corner, it would just go and it didn't kick in. And then I read online there were some specific problems with a certain type of transmission. What is different with some of the transmissions these days? I'm not saying what's faulty, but what is different? Why are the transmissions different, and they're computer operated as well?
Yes, they are computer operated as well. What you may be referring to is what's called a dual clutch transmission.
That's it.
It's an automatic transmission in many senses in terms of what you feel behind the wheel. However, it's actually operated much like a manual transmission, but everything is computer actuated. The clutch is computer actuated. Mm-hmm. The gears are changed electronically by the computer.
Wow. So it's like they just put their foot on the clutch, so they could change the gear, the speed.
Yes. So the transmission automatically actuates the clutch by electronics, and then they change the gears by electronics as well. So it's like a modern automatic transmission, mm-hmm. except that it is designed exactly like an original manual transmission for the older vehicles.
And the clutch does what?
The clutch disengages and engages the transmission from the engine. So whenever you're feeling the engine rev up without actually going anywhere, that's delayed engagement from the clutch back to the engine.
Oh, I like knowing at least what went wrong.
Right.
I like knowing, here's what cost us this much money. What other things do people need to be aware of? Like, we knew that was a problem. We brought it into to our technician, and we ended up being able to kind of extend its life a little longer with changing out fluids and doing this, and I think resetting codes and things like that. But we ended up having to get another. What are other things that people need to be aware of that, okay, this is not just something to ignore, basically?
Okay, so basically anytime your transmission feels different than you would expect it to, it's always a good idea to have it checked because sometimes there may be codes that aren't present on the dash that you can find in the computer systems that says something is not operating exactly right. Maybe a shift point is just a little bit wrong. Maybe there's a clutch that's doing something just a little bit differently than it suspects that it should. Not enough to throw a warning light, but enough to maybe catch in the early stages where you can repair it and get a lot more life out of that transmission.
How would you repair it?
It all depends on the particular cause of the problem. Sometimes it could be a solenoid where you may need a valve body. Sometimes it may be that you just need a simple relearn process to account for the wear that transmission has in it.
A relearn process meaning what? You kind of reset the computer to know this is how this is going to do. You need to change how you're making it react?
Yes, so that's exactly what's going on. Is you go in with the computer system and you reset all the parameters and you let it relearn it as it is today rather than the way that it was when it was brand new.
Holy cow, I wish we all had that. This is Charlie Dubois, the lead technician at Good Honest Mechanic. Okay, other than the transmission, what are some of the things that we might be just thinking, well, that was weird when it did that? What are some things we need to kind of just keep our ears and eyes open for in our vehicles?
Okay, so whenever you're driving, sometimes you may just have a light just flash on your dash that may flash and then go away. If you ever have that, it's always a good idea to have it checked, even if it never comes back, because it may indicate something that could be repaired and cost and last your vehicle much longer with being repaired.
Okay.
Also, sometimes you may be driving and say if you hit your brakes, it may just feel slightly abnormal. With modern technology, all the systems have some degree of computer control in them. And oftentimes you may need just a computer relearn, a computer reset, or things of that nature just to keep everything all in correspondence with each other.
Wow. I had no idea that the computer could relearn. Not just reset, not just unplug it and plug it back in, basically, but for it to relearn how to operate the car in the condition that the car is in now. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Because when the computers are all built from the factory, they have a certain set of memory that they remember what they're supposed to be, and they remember what they are at the time.
Yeah.
And over time, there becomes a gap.
Whoa.
If you can go in and fill that gap, you restart from where it is and you get a new baseline. So you can usually get more life out of many systems by just doing simple resets over time.
Oh, my gosh. I seriously do wish that we could do that as human beings. So, like, here's where I am now. Here's what I need to help me go like I need to go.
Right. That would be great.
So, okay. So that was one thing. If it's the brakes feel a little bit like they're operating not as they should, what else?
I mean, really just anything that you notice that is different than you would normally find is, if you buy your vehicle brand new and you're driving it and you notice any noises, any feels that aren't what you are normally used to, it's always a good idea to have it checked, even if it's nothing, just so that you have the peace of mind of knowing.
So mechanics and technicians like you don't go like, oh, crap, here she is again. You're like, let's look at it.
Right. We would rather look at the vehicle and know that we can have this vehicle safely on the road rather than wonder if it is or isn't safe on the road.
Mm-hmm. And ours, I'm keep bringing it back to my experience because that's all I know, is ours had like a little shudder going down the road when we were trying to pick up speed. And I think that probably, again, was transmission related. What would that be? It trying to like catch up with what it's supposed to be doing?
Right. So that being is that your transmission will be a dual clutch transmission. That is the clutch actually slipping from the transmission to the engine. So instead of a positive engagement, it's actually engaging, disengaging, engaging, disengaging. And so that's the feel that you were experiencing.
Wow. I just want to take you around with me all the time. I go, what was that? Charlie, what was that? What about expenses? What about cost of ownership for a car these days? People put all that money into getting the car, finally paying it off. What would you say are the most expensive things, maybe in terms of repair, that we could avoid by doing this or avoid by doing that?
So the most expensive things in terms of repair that we're seeing these days are engines and transmissions. Due to the new EPA standards, they regulate that the vehicles have to, within a certain make, have to all average a certain fuel economy, miles per gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, they're putting less powerful engines in them. They're putting transmissions with more gears and things like that that wear faster than they would ordinarily. And so that's the biggest expenses we're seeing is engines and transmissions. The primary thing that you can do to make your engines and transmissions last longer is just simply service them. Have the oil changed, have the transmission fluid changed regularly, have the updates and the relearn procedures done periodically.
Updates and relearn procedures. Okay, when you go to have your car maintenance done, sometimes it seems like, okay, and then we need to flush this and we need to change that and do this. What are the flushes? What are the things that need to be flushed? Does that mean they're changing the oil or changing the transmission fluid?
Yes, so primarily any system in your vehicle that requires any type of fluid should be replaced periodically, because every system uses some sort of pump or some sort of fluid movement, and these fluids over time will deteriorate. They will absorb moisture. They will absorb contaminants from outside environments or sometimes even within its own system, such as your brake fluid. It will absorb contaminants from your soft brake hoses over time, and so you should have your brake fluid replaced. Otherwise, you could end up having brake lines get clogged.
Condensation from inside because it gets hot?
Yes, partially because it gets hot. Also, say brake fluid, for one, is actually, it absorbs moisture. And so it will even absorb moisture from the brake hoses on your vehicle over time. And you need to have that fluid replaced, so therefore it can be fresh fluid and work properly.
Okay. What would you say? We got about 5 or 6 minutes more left here. I want you to give me an idea, if you could, of give me a real life examples of a couple of problems that you've faced, maybe that were head scratchers for you, and then you figured it out, or how you figured it out, that people might be dealing with.
Okay, so a lot of things goes back to electronic type systems these days. Whenever you have, hundreds of sensors that run your engine to keep your engine performance working optimally. Also, you have many sensors that work your transmission that keep your transmission running optimally. There are times that you may have a drivability issue. You're driving down the road and you feel kind of a hesitation, kind of a lurch, and it can be difficult to pinpoint whether it's an engine issue or if it's a transmission issue.
Oh, wow.
Because they both use such a large number of sensors to control each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can even have issues that you feel that don't even set codes, that you don't see anything in the actual scan tool.
Oh, wow.
That can give you a good indicator. In those times, it's good just to have experience, and based on the feel, if it seems more like a transmission condition or an engine condition, and then you can use other tools to go in deeper to determine which you want to dive deeper into to determine the root cause of the issue.
Because it gets expensive. The deep dives become expensive because you have to take so many things apart.
Yes, they do.
If you're going to get into the engine, what all things have to come off? And why does it get expensive that way?
Sure. So oftentimes they put a lot of covers over the engine these days for heat dissipation, for noise transfer, because modern engines are louder.
Whoa.
And if you didn't have these covers, you would notice that the engines are louder. But when having these covers, it quietens the engine, it muffles it, it makes your in-cabin experience much quieter.
Wow.
And so whenever you have to do any type of mechanical testing on an engine, you're having to remove all of these covers to access components that you may not have ordinarily had to remove before.
Okay, so that gets into more time.
Yes.
More effort, more work to get down in there and go, oh, no, it was the transmission.
Correct.
Not the engine. And you said a feel. You depend on feel and experience sometimes because you've dealt with it before. That's where the experience comes in, where you go like, this is what that felt like when that happened.
Right. And sometimes you deal with it before in a negative aspect where you think that it may be one thing and you've spent some time troubleshooting and you find out that it is the other. And so that's when that experience comes in, is that you have learned from either your positive results or your mistakes.
Well, you don't look like you're 100, but it sounds like you have 100 years experience, Charlie. Anything else that you want to make sure that people know about their vehicles? Okay, let me ask you this one thing before I just turn it over to you to wrap us up. What things can we take care of? What things should we take care of ourselves? Like windshield wiper fluid, wiper blades? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are the simple things that we can do and might, if we feel comfortable to do?
Right. So the simple things that you can do is just make sure you're using high gasoline grades. Make sure you're checking your tire pressures regularly. Definitely check your fluids at least once every week, every 2 weeks.
No, I don't
like
do that.
If you can access the fluids to check them, it's a good idea to check them yourself.
I did not know that. I didn't talk to you yet, did I? So what fluids am I checking?
If you're able to check your oil, it's a good idea to keep your oil checked just so that if it does ever become low, you know there's an issue, you know to get it to a shop to take it to be repaired. Many modern vehicles don't have a way to check the transmission fluid, but you can also keep your brake fluid checked. You know, if your brake fluid's low, that's a major issue. Have that checked immediately. If your coolant's ever low, that's also an issue. Have that checked immediately. So when you pop your hood, anything under your hood that has a clear tank indicator, it'll typically have a description of what that is, and you should be able to look at it and determine if it is at the right level or if it is not at the right level, because there are indicators that show you what the right levels are.
Like a measuring cup, there are those little lines on the side.
Correct.
So if it has a clear tank indicator, we can look at it without having to open things up.
Correct.
But if not, what about the oil changes? Don't you have to like put the stick in there and pull it out and check it out and all of that?
Yes. So if you have an oil dipstick, essentially all you do is with your engine off, you remove the dipstick, you wipe it with a cloth, you reinsert the dipstick and pull it out. There's an indicator level on the dipstick, and you should see if your oil comes to the safe mark. If it does not come to the safe mark, then you need oil, but you need to make sure that you are adding the exact correct type of oil and the right amount of oil.
So if we're not sure, could we call our technician?
Yes, you can call a repair facility, or you can just simply have your vehicle brought into a repair facility and we can take care of it for you.
Okay. And I know we're all supposed to read our owner's manuals, and I'm sure everybody does, but a lot of times it's very hard to understand because we don't have the expertise. We don't have the training that people like you have. So I appreciate you saying that we could call. We could bring it in. We could go, Charlie, help me. I'm not sure about this.
Right. So at least our shop, we're happy to help and give the best advice that we can over the phone if we ever need to.
That's good to know. But we're not going to call you all the time and go like, Charlie, give me free advice here. Take your time and give me free advice. But it is good to have a good relationship, I think, with your technician and your repair shop.
Yes, I do agree so.
And so that's why you're so friendly. When I come in there, you guys help me. You don't just go like, well, we'll just have to take a look at that and blah, 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 and just give me a bill. You guys explain things to me. I think that's important, not just for women drivers, but for everyone, because a lot of guys nowadays don't want to admit what they don't know about cars. They don't want to admit, I don't know how that works. But we have, if we have a good relationship with who we're doing business with, we can ask.
Right, and that's an important thing, to have a good relationship with the repair facility that you choose and to be able to trust the repair facility that you choose.
Any final thoughts that we need to make sure that people know about?
Essentially, just to make sure that whenever you're filling up your gas, make sure you're using high-quality gasoline. Make sure that you're keeping your tire pressures checked. Check any fluids that you can, and then have your car serviced at the times that you should have it serviced. Don't skip your services.
2 random questions, and we can be quick about these. We have speed bumps or traffic things in our neighborhood, and some people say you're supposed to drive over them equally with each side of your car so it doesn't wear your shocks and things out unequally. Does that matter these days?
Yes, especially if you're driving them every single day.
Yeah.
If you're driving over them equally, it will cause your suspension to wear more evenly.
Okay.
If you're driving over them unequally, say if you're dodging on the left side to hit them only with your right tires, you are going to be wearing your right side suspension out much faster than your left will be.
Whoa. Okay, and when you fill up the gas, when you fill up your car, you put the gas in. I see so many people like pump, squeezing as much in as they can. Is that okay, or is it not recommended?
You should never do that. There are vapors that are in your gasoline that your gas tank is allowed extra room at the top of your tank for your vapors to enter your engine at certain times to keep your gasoline vapors from ever having to escape to the atmosphere or building excess pressure in your fuel tank.
Whoa. So those vapors need to be able to go through the system.
Yes. Whenever you top off your gas tank beyond whenever the gas pump clicks, you're actually filling gasoline into your external vapor storage. And that can cause sometimes too much fuel to enter your engine, could cause engine damage, or it could cause other expensive repairs to what's called your evap system, your gasoline vapor evaporative system.
I have so many friends I'm going to play that part for. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. This has been very, very helpful. I really appreciate you taking your time.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
And he's still smiling. He's not crying or anything. Charlie Dubois, he's the lead technician at Good Honest Mechanic, a full-service vehicle repair shop in Hendersonville. We're going to put some more links and more information on the Focus Facebook page. Thank you for joining us. Please make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie, and that's Focus.